Hey, good morning, mamas. It's Mama Fox. It is 11 a.m. Central, and I'm so glad to be here. I'm so sorry I had to reschedule, but last week was one of those weeks where, you have a head cold and all the things. And I had low iron last week too. So I had an iron infusion yesterday morning. So I'm doing okay. I'm past the cold. The iron infusion hasn't really. I'll feel better tomorrow. It's not my first rodeo. I've had those before. It just had been a while, and it had gotten pretty low. So anyway, sorry I had to postpone. I know y'all understand. Life happens, things happen, but here we are, and I am so thankful that several of you posted some questions when I asked. So please do. I used to do that a lot here. That first year or two, I would keep a post like your big questions, like your big discussion questions. I had a post like that, and we would do that quite often. So that is in the pinned feature post at the top of our group. I've got my laptop open here because I don't always see the comments on my phone if y'all are saying anything. So I've got our group open on my laptop right here. And in the pin feature post at the top of our group, there is a post that has a little dog gif. And it's just letting y'all know, hey, do you have any questions? Do you have any topics that you want? And so you can add to that. I have a few topics planned for us, but my topics can wait. I'd much rather answer questions that y'all may have. Yes, Sarah. And see, I can't see your question here, but I see it over here. Yes, Sarah's a teacher. This is the right chat. And I'm going to tell you, I used to teach. So here's the thing. Hey, Christine. It's so good to see you. I used to teach third grade, which is arguably one of the best grades to teach. I mean, second grade's probably great too, I'm sure, but third grade is so awesome. I used to teach third grade, so I get it. I do get it. I really, really do get it. And before I go any further though, I want you to know a couple of things. I don't know if any of y'all have ever dealt with iron so low or iron problems so low that you needed an infusion. Like I said, it's not my first rodeo, but I just got it yesterday, so it's not fully really taking effect yet everywhere. It takes a couple of days. So one of the downsides, I feel pretty good. That head cold was the worst. I'm gonna be honest with you in some ways, but when I talk a lot, which I haven't been doing a lot out loud, when I talk a lot, sometimes I have to kind of be like, just because it's just hard. It's hard to talk. It's not causing me any problems, but like, don't worry about me, but I may be like, okay. So anyway, I just wanted to let y'all know that real quick, just in case you see me doing that. In another day or two, I'll be fine. I cannot, because I've tried it, I cannot walk and talk very well. I've tried that a couple of times, and that's just that requires way too much oxygen getting to all the parts of the body. But anyway, I used to teach third grade outside the home, and so I do get it, and I also totally get that lunch break, how it ain't really one. So I'm keeping all of that in mind. Now, I will tell you, obviously when I taught third grade, let's see, when was that? Well, I mean, I guess that was, 20 years ago? No, that can't be right. That's crazy. What am I saying? That would have been like almost 30 years ago? No way. But it was a while back, okay? It was a while back. When I taught third grade, I'm gonna have to answer this question from my own experience and perspective. And so I'm gonna tell you exactly what I would do. And I really mean that. I mean, from the depths of my heart, and you might not like it, but I am telling you I'm telling you what I would do. So, and I hope it gives you some ideas, at least to draw from. So when I taught third grade back, in my 20s, back in my 20s, before kids and all that, I did what was called the zone diet. You can look it up. At some point later, he switched it to calling it the anti-inflammatory diet, which is pretty cool, actually. The zone diet, I think it may have come out I guess it came out in the 90s. Well, yes, it had to have. Maybe the early 90s, I suppose. Something like that, early to mid 90s. And it wasn't a bad diet plan, particularly at all. As a matter of fact, one of the early adopters of it was Jennifer Aniston, and she's gorgeous. She just is. She was one of the early adopters of it. That is not why I did it. I found out about that later. But anyway, so my point is, when I taught school, hey Lisa, I was in my 20s. So let's be honest, you can almost eat, anything and do all right in your 20s. You're just making really poor deposits for down the road. But in my 20s, I was trying to eat pretty well. I was kind of mindful of it. I didn't really know, but I was trying. I was definitely going to the gym and doing bench step aerobics. Oh, so much fun. I'm not sure it was good on my knees, but it was fun. And, I might do a little weightlifting, maybe, but not really. It was too boring. I didn't want to do it. I wanted to do aerobic stuff because that was fun, because that was like dancing. But I was active and I was, trying to eat healthy or whatever. So, and I know those of you here in this group, you're trying to eat and live healthy and make good choices and make good deposits for your, or good investments into your future and things like that, into your health account and stuff like that. So kind of similar. And when I taught third grade, now this is how I did it. Y'all might not be there, like that may not be what you do, but I would usually wake up, I'm going to be honest with you, I would wake up around 4:30ish, at least by 5 a.m. because I've always been a kind of a slow waker upper. I like the start of my day to not feel frenzied and rushed. I can't stand that feeling. I hate it. and it's not that I took a long time to wake up necessarily. I just don't like feeling rushed. I like having lots of time in the morning before I have to talk to anybody. And so I would get up pretty early, okay? 4:30 probably, something like that, because I wanted to get to school early. And I had my reasons. I wanted to get there at least an hour before the kids started trickling in. At least an hour. Now I'm telling you that because that colors my perspective of how I would build my meals, my breakfast and my lunch. I wanted to get there at least an hour before the kids got there. And honestly, I would get there 30 to 45 minutes before most of the other teachers got there. And I started doing that from the beginning because once I'm up and once I'm going, I do a lot better thinking and working in the morning than I would at the end of the school day. Because at the end of the school day, I'm toast. I was toast. And also at the end of the school day, you're just trying to kind of wrap it up. That's me personally. And then I was trying to book it out of there to get to my bench step aerobics class because it was at a certain time. So I didn't want to hang around school. So I would get there early to do things I might need to do. I wanted to get there early before the other teachers because my first 2 years teaching, my classroom was right next to all the offices, the principal's office, the secretary's office, and and the bathrooms were across the hall. It was a hub. My classroom was in part of a hub, which was kind of fun because I got to see everyone, but at the same time, it could be very disruptive. So I wanted to get there early, okay? And what that meant for me is I would usually leave home. I would leave home by at least 6 a.m. to get to school no later than 6:30. I'd usually get there a little bit earlier than that. Okay? Like basically, the janitor's opening up the school and there I am right next to it. So with that, I've also typically not been someone, I don't wake up hungry. I've never woken up. Like, I've never woken up at 5 a.m. and thought, woo, let me go make some eggs. That is not me. And it's not that I'm trying to fight against that. That's literally, I'm not that way. I've never been that way. I've never woke up hungry. I'm usually not hungry for at least a couple of hours, okay, typically. And so I would get up, 4:30ish, leave the house around 6, having drank my coffee. No, we're not playing with that. Drank my coffee, got ready, and I would get to school. So I would take my breakfast to work, to school, and eat it there before the kids got to the classroom. And I would have at least an hour. I'd have an hour and 15 minutes or more before school started officially. But I'd have at least an hour before the kids got there. Plenty of time to grade papers or just get ready for the day or make copies. Like, they used to let us make copies and then they had somebody do it because we had some teachers that were way past retirement. No offense to them, but we had some teachers that were way past retirement age who couldn't work the copy machine because it was too fancy. And it's just the way that would be me today. I'm sure they wouldn't want me touching the copying machine today. I'm sure. But I would have plenty of time. So that's going to color my answer to you. If you are a teacher, if you can work it that way, because if you're like me and you get up early and then you got to leave, you probably don't want to eat yet. Or you're not ready to eat a meal. I totally get it. And that has always been me. And so I would take my breakfast to work and I would eat it when I got there. And by then I was ready to eat and I could do desk work. I could do all kinds of stuff. I wasn't rushed or whatever. And I'm going to share with you what I used to take, which I don't recommend anymore, what I used to take back in my 20s, because I was 20 something, and what I would take now. And I'm going to be honest with you. And again, you might not like it. And then I taught third grade, which they're pretty independent and things like that. But even so, the lunch half hour, there wasn't no half hour. There was no half hour to that. It was the lunch 15 minutes. Because, as a teacher, you are making sure everybody has their lunch and making sure everybody, okay, so Mandy says she gets up at 4 to go to work at 6. I honestly think I sometimes did get up at 4. I just can't quite remember anymore, but it was dark. It were dark. Even in the summer, or not summer, but the summer, August, going back to school. Oh my gosh. But yes, I'm going to give you some ideas. Okay, I really am. But that lunch half hour, there ain't no half hour. It's 15 minutes. You got to make sure all the kids have gotten what they need, and you're trying to maybe chit chat with a fellow teacher just to have an adult to talk to or whatever. And so I learned early on that my lunch best not be something that has to be chewed a lot. So like a lunch salad, I love salad. I mean, you can make so many different salads, and you can just do all kinds of things with a salad. But I'm gonna be honest with you, taking a salad as a teacher for lunch, you don't got enough time to chew that food. I think it's hard. I mean, you could do it, and that's a great option if you can do it. And some of you teachers may, I know different schools do it different ways. You may actually get your planning period over lunch, or you may have a planning period that's near lunch where you could eat lunch during your planning period and just not worry about it at the lunch half hour with the kids or something. So that is great. Take a salad, take an entree salad. That's a great thing to have in the middle of the day for sure. But for me, that would not, I don't think that would have worked for me. I can't think of a time that would have worked very well. And the kids like to talk to me and they want me to talk to them, and because they're sweet, because third grade's the best. So I had to keep all of that in mind with my answer too. So with that, here's what I would do. And y'all don't stick with me, because if you don't like my answer right at first, let me explain it. And then I have something for you right at the end too that I want to share with you that Dr. Mark Hyman said recently that I just loved. Honestly, the number one thing I would say to everyone here, whether you work outside the home or not, is stop thinking that there's certain foods that you can't eat at breakfast. Stop putting your breakfast into a box and your brain in a box. Think outside the box. You can eat whatever you want for breakfast. There's not just breakfast foods and supper foods. I say that to everyone. I have really, really gotten out of that box this past year and a half, and it has just revolutionized my breakfast, my first meal of the day. It is probably my favorite meal now. Honestly, it's my easiest meal of the day by far, because I'm not actually doing a lot of cooking or prep for breakfast, because I'm eating leftovers. I'm eating leftovers half the time. So that's going to be the number one thing I say is, for your breakfast, for your first meal of the day, start getting really comfortable with the idea of having leftovers for your first meal of the day. We often laugh about our days back in our early 20s or teen years, maybe college days, where we ate cold pizza for breakfast. Yes, although maybe not the normal, maybe not Domino's, but yes, cold leftovers, if you or you can warm them up. Obviously, some things need to probably be warmed up. They'll taste better. But having leftovers from the night before for breakfast, yes. And then you're not even cooking. You might be warming, maybe. So easy. Think about that the night before or a couple of nights before, what you're making for supper, for you, for the family, whatever. That can be your breakfast. Think outside the box. We're not just eating Pop-Tarts and muffins and pancakes and donuts for breakfast. We can eat whatever we want that's going to set us up well. And that's the big thing. Your first meal of the day, whenever it is, whether it's at 5 a.m. or 7 a.m. or even 9 a.m., your first meal of the day is absolutely important. It's got to set you up well. You get that first meal of the day, one that doesn't create a blood glucose roller coaster and doesn't add to cravings and urges and food noise and all that. You get that first meal of the day set up where it's really nourishing. You're going to have such a better day. It's worth the time that you might need to take the night before. And that is what I would definitely say. I did this. Like I said, I'm a slow waker upper. I don't want to do a lot of extra things in the morning other than sip my coffee. I want to sip my coffee. These days, I want to read my little book and sip my coffee and read my Psalms and pray for my family. And if the cat wants to join me, great. She's curled up right there in the chair I always sit in the morning. I don't want to be doing food prep in the morning. I mean, you can, but you don't have to. I don't want to. Okay? So, the night before, you've cooked supper, you're cleaning up from supper, you're putting the food up. That's the time. Pull yourself out a serving or make yourself a little, container, and that's going to be your breakfast in the morning. And I know that sounds crazy for some of y'all, but we can eat whatever we want for breakfast that's going to support us and set us up well. Now, this is something I don't know how it works these days, because I taught a long time ago, and after the first 2 years, I was in a portable for 3 years. It was glorious. I'm just going to tell you. It's great. People left me alone. It was lovely. But I eventually, I don't remember at what point, but early on, I had a mini fridge in my classroom and a microwave and a coffee pot. I had my own little kitchenette going on. So I don't know if they allow that necessarily or if you have that, but usually if you don't, the teacher's lounge usually has a microwave, right? So if you needed to warm your breakfast up, do it. So that'd be my number one, because then you're not thinking about it. You're only having to get it ready the night before, pull yourself out of serving. And that's the thing. At supper, make sure you're making enough for yourself, maybe even your hubby. That's what we do here when we can, is he takes leftovers for his lunches. He doesn't eat them for breakfast, but he does take them for lunch. If you need to double a recipe in order to feed your family supper and have enough for some leftover individual servings, do it. It's much easier and much less time consuming and usually cheaper to double a recipe and then have it the next day, okay? So that would be my number one, leftovers. You better believe it. And we're talking about protein-rich, lower carb type of food. So if at your supper you had, let's say like a keto meatloaf, and the only thing that makes it keto is you're not going to put breadcrumbs in your meatloaf or oats in your meatloaf. You're going to use maybe pork rinds crushed up or something else. I guess you could use almond flour. I have no idea. I haven't tried that. But let's say you have meatloaf and you have some golden potatoes for supper, but you also have some green bean fries. That's a lovely supper. Those are all great foods. For your first meal of the day, for your breakfast, just hold off on those golden potatoes, okay? Just because they are a starchy carb, and we really want to be mindful about having those at our first meal of the day, all right? So you would take the meatloaf and the green beans. And if you're thinking, how am I going to eat that for breakfast? Let me tell you something. You can do it. Once you start doing it, you're like, okay, actually, this is pretty good. This is so easy. I didn't have to think about it. I didn't have to cook it. All I had to do was warm it up and eat it. I will tell you, not to make this complicated, but having a very small, simple, easy vegetizer before my meal like that really helps me with my appetite, because I approach the meal and I'm gently becoming hungry, because hangries are gone. We don't do hangry anymore because we're nourishing ourselves. But I still sometimes approach a meal, especially breakfast, where I am hungry, but my brain doesn't quite know what it wants to eat yet, or I'm just like, I don't know. But if I go ahead and have a little simple vegetizer, I mean, like, it could be just some pepper slices, some cucumber slices, a fermented pickle. I mean, just something small. It gets my appetite going. So if you can do that too, and gosh, that's the easiest thing in the world. On the weekend, make it one of your preps that you're just going to cut up some veggies, like have a veggie tray in your fridge, and you can just grab a few slices of that and throw it in a baggie to take for your breakfast vegetizer. Super simple. And if you don't eat it all at breakfast, if you don't eat all the vegetizer, you can have it at lunch, or you can just bring it home and have it for dinner. It's not going to be a big deal. But that would be the number one. The number two thing that I would say, I have 3 ideas for breakfast, and this is literally what I would do. So if you're like, she's just telling us a bunch of junk, I'm not. I'm telling you what I would literally do. I'm telling you what I do now. Honestly, this is what I do now. And if I were teaching school like I used to, this is what I would do, because I know I would have the time by getting there to school a little early before everybody else is there, and I can eat it. Now, you may just get to school, like, I don't know what y'all's requirements would be, but like maybe you don't get to school until 15, 20 minutes before the kids arrive. Maybe you don't get to school as early as I do. So that means that you're not leaving as early as I did. So you can eat breakfast at home if you want to. I don't know if you would have enough time to do that when you got there. You'd have to just kind of plan that out and see what works best for you. But again, I'm keeping in mind that I would get there an hour ahead and have plenty of time to chew and eat this food. And I would be awake enough and ready enough, because by the time I'm eating this, I've been up for 2 to 2.5 hours, which is a reasonable amount of time to have time to wake up and be ready to eat. If you wake up at 4:30 a.m., 2 hours later is 6:30 a.m., 2.5 hours, 7 a.m., that's a reasonable time to eat your first meal of the day and be ready for it, okay? Especially if you're being mindful about your coffee and you're not making your coffee into a snack. That is going to curb your appetite. If you start putting a bunch of stuff in your coffee, you're going to curb your appetite, and then you won't be ready to eat a good, nourishing, supportive meal. Okay? And I love putting collagen in my coffee, and I love putting creatine for brain. It's supposed to be for muscles, but it's also for brain. I love putting that in my coffee. I love putting some cream in my coffee, but not in the morning anymore, because I don't want to curb my appetite. I want my appetite to be ready to receive a good, well-built, nourishing food piece meal within a couple of hours of waking up. And so if you're not ready for black coffee, that's okay. You can put a little spot of cream in there or half and half in there. But if you've been putting, I'm going to put half a tablespoon of coconut oil, and I'm going to put some collagen, and I'm going to put all this stuff in there, I'm going to put a little butter in there. How about you save that for maybe after breakfast or after lunch? Save that for later, because if you're doing that in the morning to give yourself a boost of the day, what you're really doing is curbing your appetite. And then you don't want to eat veggies and good protein for breakfast, right? So think about if you're sabotaging your first meal of the day by doing that, and you're going to want to make a change to that for sure. Okay, the other here's what I eat for breakfast. I either eat leftovers, like I mentioned, quite often. About half the time I'm eating leftovers of some sort with a vegetizer. The other part of the time, yes, sometimes I do eat eggs and omelet, but I'm going to assume that you guys are wanting something you can pack the night before to maybe take with you, or prepare the night before so it's easy to grab in the morning and eat even if you're at home. So my other thing I eat often for breakfast is chicken or tuna salad. I know that sounds crazy, but I do. I actually do. That's what I had this morning. This morning, I had some tuna salad with some avocado and fermented kraut mixed in, and some everything bagel seasoning, and some basil seeds, just for some more fiber. That was my breakfast. That's what I had. And I did put it together this morning, but I cooked that chicken Sunday in my Instapot. I posted about that. I cooked a big old pot of just chicken breast in the Instapot, hands off. I love Instapot cooking because it's completely hands off. I did that, and when it was done, I took my mixer and I shredded it. And I believe that was Sunday when I did it. I don't think it was Saturday. Could have been Saturday. I haven't really gotten to do much lately. I think it was Sunday though. And I shredded that chicken, and I used, at the time, I used half of it to make some chicken salad, and that went really fast because everybody over here likes it except one kid. And they're all home for the summer. Well, then the rest of the chicken, myself and two of my daughters, we've just been pulling it out of the casserole dish. It's plain chicken, and just using it in different ways, okay? But if I taught school still, what I would do is I would just make sure that I had made up some chicken salad ahead of time, like on Sunday night or the night before, and it's just ready for me to go in an individual container in the fridge, and I just pull it out and take it with me. And at that first meal, if I'm able to eat it and I'm not rushed, we're not talking about lunch yet, we're talking about breakfast, and I'm able to eat it and not be rushed, I probably would plate that chicken salad on a plate of lettuce or greens, just to have some extra chew, some extra fiber, some extra nutrients and things like that, okay? Because I would have the time to chew it and all those kinds of things. And you could do some berries with that if you want, something kind of lower carb to go with it, anything like that. And you can do tuna salad that way too. If you like the safe catch tuna, that is fantastic, and lots of good protein there, okay? Now, something I don't do quite as often at breakfast anymore right now, but I would consider it if I wanted to have something simple that didn't need to be heated, that I could just prep the night before and take with me, is literally an entree salad. I love salad, and like I said, I like eating salad, and I know for a fact, at least when I taught school, having an entree salad at lunch would not have been a good option. Just could not have gotten it eaten. So I might do that for breakfast, and that sounds crazy, but you can make all of that ahead of time. So an example would be on the weekend, you or hubby could grill a bunch of chicken, or even just hamburgers on the grill, whatever. Like, we do that a lot where we pick Friday or Saturday night, hubby does some grilling, and we can eat on that through the week too. Whatever you like to put on there, steak, whatever, and have some extra, so that then you have a protein that you can put on top of an entree salad. Super easy. It's something that you can do some prep on the weekend if you want, and then just assemble it the night before and grab it and take it. So that's what I would literally do for breakfast if I still taught school. And this is similar to what I do for breakfast anyway, but these things would be very simple to prep or package the night before. Now, for lunch, I'm going to tell you what I would do for lunch these days if I was working outside the home. And then I'm keeping in mind being a teacher with hardly any time to eat lunch. This is where I would keep it so simple, fast, and easy to eat. And I have personally learned a whole lot about the middle meal from Dr. Gabrielle Lyon. She's the protein and muscle expert. Her book is called Forever Strong. And I've listened to several of her podcast episodes. They're pretty sciencey over my head. They're pretty, she's really smart. And I don't think she does the best job always explaining things, because she's almost too smart. You know, people like that. Like, some people are just too smart. But anyway, I've learned a lot from her, and it's really helped me move forward confidently with how I approach my day, where breakfast is absolutely non-negotiable. The first meal of the day, absolutely gotta be built well. The last meal of the day, or what we might call supper, gotta get that one right, because we don't want to have those nighttime munchies and cravings and urges and all that. We want to be supportive. The middle meal, less important. Okay? Less important if you're building those other two really well. And so that has really given me a lot of freedom in, I don't fret the middle meal as much, as far as trying to like check all the boxes or whatever. And so I do want to free you up on that, we're not trying to necessarily hit all these goals at that meal. We still want it to be healthy foods, whole foods, supportive foods. But if you're building that breakfast well and that supper well, the middle meal, you have some more leeway. And she does it. I have a podcast episode I could share with you where she and her mentor, Dr. Donald Lehman, really explain why getting in your good quality protein at breakfast and supper are the most important, and the middle meal is kind of supplemental to that, and it's less important, and there's biological reasons for that. So I hope that maybe sets somebody free today to not be, I hope you're not force feeding protein. Let's put it that way. You shouldn't be force feeding any macronutrient, to be honest, but you don't need to be force feeding protein. It's just something we want to be very mindful of at the first meal and the last meal. So if I still taught third grade, here's what I would do. Hey, Debbie, it's so good to see you. Here's what I would do. I would probably take, and I don't know how this works. Y'all can tell me, and I'm going to look over here. Because I want to see what y'all do. Carrie, you're a bus driver? Woo, that's a hard job, girl. That is a hard job. And so I could tell, yeah. So Carrie is a bus, see, I couldn't see it over here. Carrie's a bus driver, and so she's having to leave really early. So she just waits until about 9 o'clock to eat her first meal. I think that's perfect. I think that makes total sense. Total sense. Absolutely. You just extend your overnight natural fast. And I think that's perfect. Absolutely. Tuna, Julie, on the tuna, get the Safe Catch brand. The Safe Catch brand, I get it at Costco, but they do have it at Publix. And that one is a clean brand. as far as the mercury things goes. And like anything, I try to mix things up. I try not to eat the same stuff all the time. I try to eat the same way, but not necessarily the same foods all the time. So kind of mix that up a little bit. But I believe Safe Catch would be great. So for lunch, if I were you, this is what I would do. I would take if I didn't struggle with dairy, because some of us do, so we have to be mindful of that. But if I didn't struggle with dairy, then I would take probably some organic Greek yogurt with some protein powder mixed in, possibly. And there's lots of different options for protein powder. So if you're trying to be mindful about dairy, but you can have some, you could always do the yogurt, but use egg white protein powder or even a plant protein powder. I've used hemp protein powder before. But I would maybe do some yogurt with some nuts, and if you can, I know some schools don't let you do, I don't know if they don't let you do, well, I mean, peanuts are inflammatory anyway, so whatever, but like if you could do some almonds or pecans or walnuts or something, I don't know, that would be great. But some berries mixed into that yogurt. If you're in a season where you can have some fruit, a little bit of fruit, even though that's a little more, carby, sugary, you could do a little bit of fruit. Shredded coconut, just to add some texture and fiber to that yogurt. You can always mix in some basil or chia seeds if you want to make it a little more filling. But I would do something like that where it is very quick and easy to eat because it almost slides down. There's not a lot of chewing. I would do something like that. And I know you can buy like some non-dairy yogurts. I know you have to be mindful about those. You got to watch those ingredients on those non-dairy yogurts, because sometimes you got to just kind of weigh the pros and the cons on that. I might do a protein shake at lunch. I do that sometimes now. Probably twice a week, I'll have a protein shake at my middle meal. Now, I don't build my protein shakes like I used to because when you know better, you do better. And so I don't throw everything in the kitchen sink into the blender to get annihilated, because I want the fiber mesh. I want that. And when you throw it in the blender, it annihilates that fiber mesh. And we want that fiber mesh for satiety, for GLP-1 hormone, for fullness, and for all those things. You still get, of course, the vitamins and things like that are in those, the greens or the berries or whatever that you throw in the blender. It doesn't mean they go away, but the fiber mesh has been destroyed when you put it into the blender. And so I don't do that anymore. So I might have a protein shake that's literally just my almond milk, some kefir, some stevia, the protein powder of whatever type I'm using, and maybe some vanilla extract, something simple. And that's the shake, okay? And then on the side, so that I'm chewing it, so that not only am I chewing it so the fiber is there, but also it's that hand-to-mouth action. And honestly, when I chew and I have hand-to-mouth action, but I'm chewing my food and swallowing it, it psychologically feels like I'm eating. That's why I don't do well with soup, or part of the reason. I don't like eating soup. It's not that it doesn't taste yummy. It can taste great, but I don't feel like I've eaten if I haven't chewed. And I do want to chew a little bit. So we're kind of compromising at the lunch here if you're a teacher, because it's got to be fast, it's got to be simple. It's got to be less chewing probably than an entree salad, but like you could have a protein shake that doesn't have a bunch of stuff in it, just the protein and the liquid and the sweetener and whatever, and then have your berries on the side, or your small piece of fruit, or your dark chocolate, or all of that. Some nuts if you can. If you're in a nut-free school, they may just be peanut-free, but if you're in a nut-free school, because I've been teaching homeschool classes, our campus was completely nut-free, none, zero, zilch. but we could use, what's that stuff called? It's that sesame. No, it wasn't sesame. Sunflower. We could use sunflower butter. And they do make one that has no sweetener in it. But I can't think of the name of that. Do y'all know what I'm talking about, that sunflower butter? So in your shake, if you can't take nuts to eat, then just make sure you're putting some fat in your shake. It could be sunflower butter that's unsweetened. It could be avocado oil. I do that a lot in my husband's protein shakes because avocado oil is so wonderfully anti-inflammatory and it has zero taste. Zero. And so it's not going to mess up your shake whatsoever. So make sure you're getting some fat in there. Hey, Lonnie, it's good to see you. Because you want some fat to stay with you. Now, what I don't know the answer to this because I've not done it. I don't know how it works to make a protein shake in advance and put it in the fridge. Like if you make it the night before and put it in the fridge, or even if you make it that morning and you've got it in like an insulated tumbler. I don't know. I don't know how well that holds up. I would think it would be fine. I mean, it's probably not going to be super thick. We're just trying to get the job done here, honestly. We're just trying to get you some decent protein and some anti-inflammatory foods to go with it. So I am not sure about that part, okay? If you can have a little baggie of some raw veggies to eat, or a fermented pickle or something, if you can have a small little vegetizer in a baggie to go with that, that can be very helpful. It doesn't have to be big, but that's going to help with satiety also. But that is exactly what I would take. Is I'd probably do the protein shake, and I do alternate when I have them, which, like I said, is about 2, maybe 3 times a week tops at my middle meal. I'll alternate between egg white protein powder and whey protein powder because I don't want to overdo either one of those. And but there's also Moku makes a decent hemp protein powder, and you can get that on Amazon for sure. So the main thing I want to say to you, this is what Dr. Hyman, he posted about this, and I'll post it soon. I shared it in my stories, but it keep it simple. Eat boring, especially when you're having to take your food to work outside the home, and that's the last thing you need to be wrestling with and grappling with is trying to make exciting breakfast and lunch. Save the excitement for the weekend. That's when you can try a new recipe on the weekend, or you can make up some stuff. When you're talking about just trying to fuel yourself really well and support yourself really well, but you're working and maybe not only are you a teacher, but you're trying to get your own kids out the door to their classes in school, you want to keep it super simple. I can tell you, back in my 20s when I taught 3rd grade, I ate the same breakfast every stinking day for years. Literally. I had yogurt, and this was the zone diet, so don't be doing this, okay? This is in my 20s. You can do it. I had yogurt. I didn't know about Greek yogurt back then. I don't even know if we had it here where I live. But I had plain, unsweetened yogurt with no sweetener in it, because that was not part of the plan back then. Yogurt, a small amount of grapes cut up, and a generous sprinkle of almonds. That is what I ate for breakfast every day. Okay, now that would not hold me. That would not hold me now. And I don't even know, I probably got to eat lunch pretty early back then. I can't remember. But I don't want you to make that for breakfast. But what I want you to get is it's okay to eat the same stuff every day if it gets the job done. Okay, I do think varying your foods and getting in a variety of veggies and fruits and different berries and different nuts and even different proteins, I do think that's important, because variety is the spice of life, and you will get bored with your healthy eating if you don't vary it some, and you can get different nutrient profiles and vitamins and things from varying your food. I do think that's important. So you can do that maybe at supper, but definitely on the weekend. But for breakfast and lunch, Monday through Friday, keep it boring, keep it simple, keep it doable, and don't worry about a bunch of variety. Don't even keep it simple so that your day can be exciting and fun and your food is kind of boring. That is totally fine. And I actually heard that from Dr. Mark Hyman this past week, and I happened to hear it on a life coaching call that I was listening in on. She said the same thing. Eat boring so that you can be exciting. Keep it simple. Don't spend your time fretting and worrying about trying to make a bunch of new recipes. And that's the other thing I will leave you with. Personally, I think I've been trying some new recipes over the past 9 months. I have tried some new recipes because my Foxy Foundation 10-week group, we give our mamas a lot of menu recipe ideas and possibilities. A lot. But I haven't even made every single one of those because my margin for new recipes is like one a week, maybe, and not even every week. Like that's my margin. That's about all I can handle is one new recipe once a week tops, and then like not even, more like once or twice a month. And that's okay because typically I don't even cook by recipes most of the time. You don't need a bunch of new recipes in order to reach health goals and be healthy. You really don't. Keep it simple. Meat, protein, whatever. Protein, a couple of veggies, side salad. Keep it so simple. Stop trying to find the holy grail of new recipes. You don't need them. You really don't. If you want a few new recipes for your toolbox, then, do that when you're not busy working. Maybe every weekend you try a new recipe, perhaps, or on the breaks you try a couple of new recipes. But most of the time, just keep it simple. Meat. What I do here, I've been doing this forever. A protein, a veggie of some sort that's usually cooked, raw veggie platter or side salad, and then some kind of starchy or sugary healthy carb that I may or may not eat, but it's for my family. And I'm talking like potatoes or, a fruit tray or whatever. Just keep it so simple, mamas. Keep it so simple. I see too many mamas asking. I shared about my chicken, my shredded chicken, and I had ladies asking for recipes, and I'm like, I don't have one. Like I don't have a chicken salad recipe. It's just chicken salad. And it's like, well, chicken and mayonnaise and then whatever is in the fridge that makes sense. Because what Chicken Salad Chick, have y'all ever been to Chicken Salad Chick? Do y'all have one of those? That I know that's very regional. So some of y'all don't have that. They started in Auburn, Alabama. Or no, not really Auburn, Alabama, but what is that? Is that Opelika? Is that right? I don't know. I'm obviously not an Auburn fan. But I know that Chicken Salad Chick started out at the Auburn University area. So it's very regional and it grew out from that. But what Chicken Salad Chick has taught me is I can put anything I want into my chicken salad. As long as it's chicken and mayonnaise, go for it. Or you can do chicken and Greek yogurt if you want to, or both. I've done both. I do have one recipe. I don't use it anymore. And it was half mayonnaise, half yogurt for the dressing part. Do y'all have a Chicken Salad Chick? Christy, do you have one? But you can put whatever you want in a chicken salad. The options are endless. This past weekend, you know what I put? And I don't think I've ever done it, and we loved it. I had a couple of small yellow summer squash and a zucchini from G Daddy's garden. And it wasn't really enough to cook. It wasn't going to feed everybody. And so I just cut that up raw and put it in the chicken salad just for some color and crunch. I mean, whatever. And then I made some like salty, spicy oven roasted pecans, the kind that you might want to snack on. And I chopped up some of those with my little Pampered Chef chopper. Got that Pampered Chef chopper out. Chopped up some pecans, threw that in there, done. Next time I make chicken salad, it'll be different because I won't have G Daddy's squash probably. I'll do something different. Cucumber, I don't know. But you don't need recipes. You don't. You really don't. Chicken Salad Chick has taught me that. Christy, it's pretty good. This is a different Christy. It's pretty good. It's not like my favoriteest place to go in the entire world, but it's always so busy at lunch. We have like 2 here in Huntsville that I can think of, maybe 3. It's pretty good. It'll give you some fresh ideas, if anything. You know what, y'all, go online. I'm sure you can go online to Chicken Salad Chick and look at their menu, because it'll describe the different chicken salads, and that'll inspire you. You can shred up some chicken next weekend like I've been doing, and you could make a different chicken salad from the Chicken Salad Chick inspo menu and have something, and that way you're eating the same thing every week. It's a no-brainer. It's super easy. You can make it ahead. You can grab it and go. You don't even have to warm it up. That would be weird to warm up chicken salad, I think. But you could put a little twist on it that's a little different every week, just so you're not bored, okay? So I hope that is helpful. I don't know teachers, and I don't know if you love my answer, but that is literally what I would do. I want you to set yourself up well at that first meal, whether you're eating it at home before you leave or eating it when you get there. Be mindful of your coffee. Be mindful that you're not curbing your appetite for that first meal and then sabotaging your first meal and the rest of your day by putting all this stuff in your coffee in the morning that's causing you to not want to eat breakfast at a breakfast time, and then you can't because it's 8 o'clock and the kids are there and it's time to go to, it's time to do class, and now you can't eat because you sabotage yourself. Don't do that to yourself, okay? And y'all know I love coffee. I love it so much. It's truly one of my favorite pleasures in life. So I'm not trying to take your coffee away from you. I am not. But maybe just don't put so much stuff in it in the morning. Save the fun stuff for like to close out your breakfast. You could have a cup after breakfast before the kids get there, and that's when you can put some fun stuff in it. Or if you're able, I don't know your situation, but if you're able to have a cup of coffee at lunch, maybe when you get back to the classroom or during your planning period, maybe then is when you put the fun stuff in. Try to keep your coffee in the morning simple. A splash of cream at the most, but not that other stuff in it, so you don't curb your appetite, okay? All right, I hope that was helpful. Thank y'all for understanding about me going live this week instead of last week. It would not have been pretty last week at all. It was not pretty over here. And anyway, I hope that helps our teachers and any other people that might work outside the home. I know it's hard. I know it's hard to be trying to pack stuff in the morning. So definitely it's something you want to think about on Sundays and on the night before, for sure. And it'll just make your day go so much better, help you avoid the lunch cafeteria food that you probably don't want to eat. I'm just guessing. And I will leave you with this. My last year teaching, I was pregnant with my oldest. And that year I did not eat my yogurt and my grapes and my almonds. I ate strawberry unfrosted Pop-Tarts because I was so sick. Well, not really actually so sick. I was just queasy enough to not be able to. That was tough. I wished I had known better back then, because that was probably not a good idea at all. But I was just trying to survive until February when I could segue out and have my oldest and all the things. But whew, that was a hard time. That was a hard time for sure. If you are in a hard situation like that and you're struggling with making good choices, maybe because you're expecting or something like that, feel free to post in our group. I had a mama message me just a few days ago, and she is expecting, and she is definitely having some struggles with food and making some choices. So feel free to post in our group. I wouldn't do it on this video in case it gets lost. The comment gets lost, but post in our group if you need some help trying to figure out, okay, what can I eat when I'm trying to make good choices, but I feel queasy or whatever. And we can try to come up with some ideas to help support you in that season. This too shall pass. It won't be forever. And sometimes we have to make some adjustments and do things differently when we're in that type of a season, right? But not strawberry Pop-Tarts. Okay, don't do that. Don't do that. Not a good idea. All right, ladies, thanks for joining me. And I will be uploading this video to YouTube. And then we will send this out on an email in a few days. And that way you can share it with, it'll just be on my YouTube channel, like public facing. You can share it with other people that could use it if they're not necessarily in this group. If it might give them just some things to consider and think about to make things easier as the school year starts, which is crazy. I can't believe some of y'all have already went back to school. Kind of crazy. All right, I hope you do have a good week and a good school year. All right, bye-bye.